Today on the American Truck Podcast, City Skylines Natural Disasters DLC has released. No Man's Sky and Pokemon Go both received updates. Steam has created its own Game of the Year awards. And Euro Truck Simulator 2 is getting more of France.
Hello there, welcome to the American Truck Podcast with Jefferson B.
And I, Andrew C.
That's right, and we are trucking. We are the only two that are trucking today, actually. We are half of our team. We are half the team that once was known as Ghost Incorporated. I actually had to use Ghost Incorporated the other day. Somebody asked for a company name for a piece of software. I was like, ghosting. Why not? I got the name for it.
Yep.
It comes in handy to have your own semi-official corporation.
It does.
But speaking of semi-official things, Andrew C., did you get a chance to watch the latest episode of The Grand Tour?
I did. I didn't get to watch it all in one go this time like I did the first episode. I ended up watching it over 3 different viewing periods, but I did get a chance, and it was very good, very quality. I thought it was pretty funny the way that the films went in this particular one, where they had to keep redoing it.
That actually that was impressive. I think what was most fascinating to me was the fact that the Prime Minister could not get his numbers straight.
Oh yeah.
Just that little bit of local humor that just makes everything a little bit nicer.
Mm-hmm.
We have yet to find out what celebrity, what is it, brain drain? Celebrity?
Drain or brain jam? Yeah, something like that, yeah.
We've yet to figure out what that is, but hopefully in the not too distant future, we will, as this whole series and basically cult following continues to build itself.
Indeed. Now, I'm not going to lie, I get the feeling we're never going to find out what it actually is.
I hope we do.
I hope that's the joke.
I think that's definitely how it's going to roll. But I mean, hey, it's a great opportunity to see.
Who knows? It might not be. That might not be what the joke is. But
maybe it's literally just on delay, and they couldn't figure out a way to take care of it. But speaking of things that are finally coming off of delay, City Skylines Natural Disasters Pack released for $14.99 this week. I understand you want to speak into this as our resident city planner and virtual builder.
Indeed, yeah. That they talked about it a couple. I don't know if it was a month ago, but it was a while back. They said that City Skylines was finally going to get this, and it's kind of unique the way it's set up, or not. I don't know. But I really don't play too many other city planners, so I'm not sure how other like SimCity and whatnot had this set up for their disasters, but. It's going to be summonable at will, so if you don't have it set up to just randomly do natural disasters, you'll be able to just say, hey, I want an earthquake right now, and it'll happen.
Why on earth would you want an earthquake to summon at will?
See how well you've prepared.
I mean, I guess that's one way to test your evacuation plans.
Yeah.
Albeit expensively.
A little bit, but and some people like just destroying cities. So I know that's something. One of the things people were disappointed that the City Skylines didn't have, because it is a big thing in like SimCity to just kind of destroy your city for the fun of it.
Sort of like the whole kid sets up a tower of blocks only to knock them down again.
Yes,
sort of
very similar to that. And if you aren't the kind of person who likes to just destroy your stuff, you can set it up on a basically whenever it wants to, procedurally generated type nature, where it might not be today, might not be tomorrow, but someday meteors will strike and you have to be prepared for it. And so they did bring along some new buildings and new stuff for you to use with that, where there's actually going to be stuff that'll give early warning for like tornadoes and floods and whatnot, and stuff that'll allow you to limit the damage on properties, as well as like stuff to help the survivors afterwards, the people whose homes were flooded and need to seek refuge somewhere. So there's a bunch of new things to be able to do in that, and I probably won't pick it up for a little while, just because I don't play City Skylines enough to warrant the $15 to add on to the game. But I'll probably pick it up in the future when it's on sale.
Most excellent. It seems like it's a fully well built out system that they've got going on there, which, I mean, just that level of detail is really something to be admired.
Definitely.
And speaking of things that are definitely more detailed than they should be, Pokemon Go has had an update. We're now with the inclusion of a new tracking feature, allowing you to use the available Pokestops nearby to, track Pokemon. Only available to those west of the Mississippi River, though. Now, this is to say that I guess this is only available in the U.S., so for our international listeners, this will probably not be an applicable concept, although it's my understanding that there's several countries that still do not yet have the base game, and localization teams are working rather hard to get that taken care of. But in addition to that, one thing that a tracking station will not show you is that a Ditto now has the chance of appearing as one of your available wild Pokemon. As we've seen from the anime specifically, Ditto has the unique ability to transform into any Pokemon at will, at least on sight. And so, as it appears right now, a Ditto will first appear to be a normal Pokemon, and then upon catching it, it will reveal its true form. So definitely adding a unique aspect of gameplay at this point. I can kind of see where some of the issues would be that might cause that to be a later added feature. But with the exception of legendaries, I think that does it for all of the Generation 1 base Pokemon. Am I correct?
I think that's right, yeah. I think that was about the one thing that was missing. There might be a couple other things that aren't there yet, but I think that was the biggest non-legendary that wasn't in.
Correct. And I mean, my heart goes out to Niantic just because they are working on such a shoestring core of personnel at this point. But, we hope to see great things from them going forward, especially with a nice move, by the way. That was fantastic there, Interesting. That was some expert driving right there. But, I hope that Niantic can really kind of pull themselves together and kind of bootstrap together a game that is based on such a well-loved property. It really is quite the gold mine of things that they have to present to the audience.
Indeed. And they're... just to speak about that whole available west of the Mississippi thing, yeah, it is only currently U.S., and it's part of expanding the beta out. So we don't know if this is going to be the final way that this new tracking system works. So I get the feeling that we're basically having a much larger segment of the country able to beta test this now, and then I'm assuming it will roll out to the rest of the country and then to all regions after that.
A most peculiar selection, though,
yep.
to use the Mississippi River as the dividing line, just because that includes a fairly large amount of people, a fairly large amount of individuals. And what is that to say about towns that border the Mississippi River? I can imagine if I had friends that lived in the next town over on technically the west side of the Mississippi,
it might be a little awkward.
It definitely will make for some awkward conversations. But speaking of awkward conversations that we should probably be having, so Steam has created its own Game of the Year award, which I think is rather fascinating. Particularly things like I thought this game was cool before it won an award, probably dictated by a man bun, a beard, and some sort of espresso beverage. Best Use of Farm Animal Award, which I can only imagine would go to, what is that? There's a video that I'm remembering in my head, and I think it's called Ark Race. It's like a Noah's Ark themed animal racing game. JonTron did a video of it not too long ago. And it's just one of those games. Just go watch it, go find it. It's out there, and it will enrich your life with variety and a full array of game development. The wild card category, the We Didn't Think of Everything award, probably notably going to some sort of simulation game, or possibly some game that just doesn't fit the mold
Yep.
As well as the Game Within a Game award, dedicated to those games with the greatest mini games available to them. I believe it's probably without beyond a shadow of a doubt, we can say that Grand Theft Auto 5 is definitely high in the runnings for that.
Oh,
the
yeah.
game that brought us such great things as Golf Simulator, Yoga Simulator, and probably a whole host of other things that
remember when that game came out? We were just kind of listing all of the things that you could simulate in that game. I mean, golf and yoga are the two big ones. It's got a driving simulator, it's got a shooting simulator, it's got a carjacking simulator.
See, I feel like those three things, those are core game concepts.
House buying simulator.
That one is definitely a mini game. The DLC expansion, the recent biker expansion, I would call that a mini game.
Yeah. Yep.
Can you interact with an arcade machine?
Are kind of a simulator, heist simulator.
There you go. What about? Can you interact with any arcade machines or anything?
There's darts.
Okay,
simulator.
there you go. That's games within the game.
Yep.
Man. So wait, what are the details on when these awards are coming out?
Well, nominations are happening now.
Okay.
So you can go to various games on Steam and you can nominate them for awards. I'm not sure when the awards are. You would think I would have looked into that. I forgot.
That happens. They will occur at some point in the future.
It will happen in the future. I want to say it soon. And so, of course, the biggest one here that hasn't been mentioned yet is you can make your own category. So if you want to vote Half-Life 2 Episode 2 as the game that deserves a sequel award, you can do that.
That's great.
And many people have. We assume that Valve will not acknowledge this award category when the Game of the Year Awards occurs, but it is at least the thought that counts.
Yep.
On the part of the consumer.
What I can say is that award has definitely won its place in my heart.
Yeah.
And that is all that matters.
Yep.
Speaking of things that matter, Euro Truck Simulator 2, just in case you forgot that is still a thing, that is alive and kicking, is coming out with more DLC. This time the French, because the French needed more DLC.
Yep.
Looked like we're adding 15 new cities up to 20,000 kilometers, or kilometers, as some might say, of roads and highways. And for that, you'll have to shell out 19 actual American dollars, or I guess it's about, what is that, 20 euro, give or take?
Yeah, give or take.
So, I mean, there's that. I guess we needed more complexity in the French. Still sitting over here in my 3 American states, hoping for the best.
Yeah.
You know?
Hopefully the map expansion comes out soon so we can stop crossing 3 states in one episode.
Wouldn't it be amazing if we could cross that many states in any given episode, though?
I mean,
or just like IRL.
I mean, if the Hyperloop becomes a thing, we might be able to, but that's probably our only chance.
Right.
But it would be amazing. It would be really nice to not have to get on a plane to be able to cross the country in 6 hours.
Yeah, and even then, I mean, getting in a plane is seriously inefficient when it comes to travel.
I mean, I can only imagine that Hyperloop will be just as inefficient.
Sorry, I just ran into a corner.
You know, public transit today is not currently that overwhelmingly secure, but I imagine something that allows for that kind of speed of transport would have to become more secure of a transportation method.
Here's hoping. But nevertheless, while we sit and we wait, we are able to cross 3 states in a 20-minute podcast episode, which is not bad, all things considered.
Yeah, it really isn't bad.
There's that. It's available. I'm probably going to still stick in America for now. But hey, for those of you that are still playing out there in Euroland, it's there. Go for it. And our last segment of news today is one that I think, for me at least, it's a very personal note. So if you haven't seen the news already, which you probably have by now, No Man's Sky finally received an update, a very heartfelt update, which shows progress. I think was the best way to describe it. I understand. Do you want to give a couple of really brief overview details as to what is all included in this fantastic foundational update?
Yeah, just from the basics here, it basically adds 2 new game modes, both creative and survival, on top of the existing game mode that you already had, that you were already able to play, as well as base building, farming, and some somewhat needed UI updates, as well as graphics quality fixes and updates and tweaks there. So you should be able to play the game at a little better quality than before, hopefully with less FPS issues and whatnot. So,
Indeed.
And I know you took a chance today to go ahead and actually play that update, and what are your thoughts?
First off, I guess I'll take that list of things that you just did, and I'll take them in reverse. UI updates and graphics quality things, probably the most fascinating thing to me when I decided to try out all 3 different game modes. So of course I had an original save, which in this new update is called normal mode, and then there is creative and survival. And so I decided to pick with survival, thinking to myself it wouldn't be too stinking hard. And so after you do the initialization, that thing where you hold down E and everything, all the shinies come into play, and it kind of gives you a brief understanding of how the world works. The first thing I noticed out of the box was motion blur, and a lot of it. Not for necessarily in a bad way, but just the sheer sense of presence, I think, that motion blur provides when you compare it to the way the previous game ran. It's nice. It's just a nice thing to have. Some of the other graphics quality things, I think when my game updated, it may have downgraded the quality, so I have to tweak with those settings a little bit more, see if I can get NVIDIA on my side, so we can optimize it a little bit better for my my little 660, which is chooching away here inside of the old PC. No, I just ran straight into a sign.
Oh, that poor sign.
The sign didn't move. Some sort of rare titanium sign. I just took a screenshot accidentally. F7, enter. That's what I wanted to do. Anyway, I'm just gonna keep talking. Farming is a thing. Every time you come in contact with a plant, it might not have the same resources that it did, which isn't a bad thing. With the exception of, and this is where things start to branch out here. So, and let me first touch on creative versus survival, I guess, just to kind of give some explanation here, give some context. So creative mode, if you are a fan of Minecraft, you will know how creative mode works. Creative mode is just one of those great things that people know and love. No pressure, no worries. Sit back, listen to the now improved soundtrack, which I will say is a much needed improvement. But also you get to hang out and just build and use the new base building, which is kind of cool. It reminds me a lot of, it's got this very Fallout 4 kind of vibe to it, where, I mean, sure, you have your abilities to, go out and do what you want, but to have kind of a home base, or as I had to declare, my home planet, which is basically used to serve as planting my flag in deep space so I know how to get back to where I was. That's a thing, and it's available. And creative mode, it's just a lot of fun. It is probably my favorite mode of the 3, just because I like the relaxed environment and the atmosphere that it brings. Now, survival mode is entirely different, because survival mode is really hard. I think I died on several occasions going through survival mode, and which is totally the point. The point of survival mode is not to be easy. The point of survival mode is for it to be hard. Let that be said. After that, though, I died about 3 or 4 times before we had to record the podcast, and I just kept noticing every time you die, it's a new, quote, generation. But everything that you may have mined in your previous generation doesn't come back. So it's a whole new slew of challenges. I have died a number of ways. Being eaten, being poisoned, being suffocated, heat exposure, all that greatness there. But yeah, this is probably the most fascinating part of this whole update to me, is that playing the Foundation update of No Man's Sky, it felt like a new game. Like it was No Man's Sky, but it's almost like it's now what it was supposed to be. And I think that's hopefully what Hello Games is going to be doing here, is building upon this thing that they started and they kind of had to rush out the door, and now very slowly and methodically kind of start to modularize all of these new and better features. And hopefully what that means, and I haven't even seen what a freighter looks like yet. I experienced a little bit of teleportation between base and home, which is really convenient. So hopefully we'll get to see just further exploration of what this game looks like. I feel like it has the potential to be all the things that you want it to be, and not just be one thing that you don't want it to be, if that makes sense. So I am personally, I'm very excited. I think No Man's Sky has a great deal of potential in the future.
It really does seem like it's what was intended by the developers when we were back in Hyperpalooza time.
Right.
You know, it definitely seems like this is what they wanted it to be, and maybe it just, they had to cut this stuff because someone was higher up was saying it's been delayed too many times, it's got to come out, whether it's done or not. And that's an unfortunate fact, whether that's what happened or not, but we don't know. But it's regardless, it's unfortunate that it took necessarily this long to be able to get to this place, and hopefully it allows people to see that this is a different game now with these extra things in it, and hopefully people give it a second chance.
I couldn't agree more. I really couldn't. I think one of the big things that this new update provides is how do I put it? Now that the hype train has died down, we have less people to have to please, and so I think now Hello Games has more of kind of a renewed vigor in their game design, and that's evident in their work. And so I am thoroughly excited. I cannot wait for 1.2, because I think 1.1 being called the Foundation update means that we can only start building from there.
Yep, I would agree.
Yeah, and well, on that interstellar bombshell, I do believe it is time to end. I want to thank you so very much for watching and or listening to the American Truck Podcast. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you really like it, be sure to be subscribed to Ghost Incorporated for all kinds of new content coming at you. And we will see you in the next one.